right, welcome to Rambling Achieved. As you can see, another duo video uh, with Brandon. Thank you very much for joining me.
Appreciate you for having me, man. I'm pumped to get into the debates.
Yes, that is what is on the docket today. Obviously, Game of the Year season is 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 on the horizon. I think he said he posted it was like 30 days from now, right? The other day, like it's the
Mm,
11th, I believe, or 12th.
yeah. Jesus, this year just flew by. That is, I think a lot of it does come down to, as you get older, of course, time just flies by. But man, we were just drowning in games this year. It felt like you just could never have a moment to breathe in terms of playing something new on the horizon that you're interested in. And I think that there's something about that kind of nonstop churn in terms of just content that you lose sight of how quick everything is flying by because it's just one after another after another. And yeah, it felt like no game this year had a moment of like even a month to really shine.
No,
It
you
was
you
from
look
one
at
week to the next.
Battlefield 6 like blew the doors off, and then Arc Raiders was like a week or so later and just stole its thunder. And that's the kind of thing that I was trying, because I know people were like, "Wow, look at them numbers! It's gonna win gaming for years to come." And it's like, you gotta keep in mind with multiplayer games, it's nothing against Battlefield. Battlefield's great. These type of things burn really bright and then fade really quick,
Mm,
especially if there's competition on the horizon. And obviously, a lot of people were using Call of Duty as the example. I think people kind of forgot Arc Raiders was what, like, the most wishlisted game on Steam at that point. Like it fucking blew up. It was dominating a lot of the space, and yeah, that had a really weird launch because it had shitloads of numbers and then broke its record and then broke its record and then broke its, like, I don't think that's ever really happened before. In that like quick of a span, I think maybe PUBG could have probably been the last thing that really did that as a multiplayer game.
yeah,
Um,
it is so wild. Like you
Wild.
see, even with dispatch, right? Where
Mm.
I'm looking at that and I'm like, damn, is that the philosophy? Like, be in the conversation every week somehow, figure out some new thing to release for a month straight every week. But it's, of course, that doesn't work for 99.9% of games. So yeah, it is tough to find any room to stand out. But I have been looking at 2026 lately, like preparing for my most anticipated games list for 2026, and I'm like, uh, okay. I, it's good for sure. But I remember going
Mm.
into 2025 and being like, "Oh my God, this is just absurd." 2026 has like a few mega mega games, but in terms of
How
like the breadth,
how many of them titles were kind of, they held their breath to putting a date down
true.
because of a certain somebody? It's that type of thing of like, because it went from, what was it, May it was hitting,
Yeah,
to what now, November.
November.
So now that opens up the whole opening 6 months of the year. So it's like, okay, well, the Game Awards is coming up. You can probably put it there. You can even just in this day and age, you can just post a trailer on the internet and it will just sell itself if it's a good enough game. So I think we're gonna start to see like a floodgate of games being like, yeah, rush, rush, rush,
That is
open,
true.
open six
Yeah.
months,
Damn,
because it
you're
was the
right.
worry of like, even with it being a May anticipated release, you're talking like the amount of people I've seen post where it's like, yeah, my friend's waiting to get a PS5 for GTA 6 kind of thing. It's like you don't even want to be before that, because people are just, they have their eyes on that one and only thing. With it
Mhm.
being so far late into the year, yeah, people will than likely pick something up earlier on in the year. It's going to be a bloodbath early next year. It's going to be
Yeah,
crazy. I wonder where the cutoff point, because you had a much smaller scale version of that with Silksong this year, where a
that
bunch of
was the
games
indie GTA.
fucking moved away
Yeah.
from it, and like, yeah, that's an indie game. I know it
Mm.
obviously garnered shitloads of success, but like, even if that's scaring people away, how big of that like bubble gap is there going to be before and after the release for anybody?
Mm.
It's wild.
Well, and it's like, as well as that. you you're so right, where it's just going to start. The Game Awards are going to be like the May through August, just nothing but games dropping in summer of 2026 are going to be getting announced at the Game Awards, just filling up that calendar now that they were holding their breath. And yeah, so you're probably right. That probably is the number one reason that we're looking at right now a slightly weaker rollout for 2026. We're probably about to get a ton of games bombarding announcements in the next couple months. So, but then it's, yeah, do they then move to 2027? GTA 6 gets delayed to 2027. It's like, what happens then? Uh, it's not a situation I would like to be in as a
There's so many
publisher.
different ways people have been plucking it as well. There's the rumored Xbox, so there's been some people jumping on the wagon of, oh, maybe that's going to be like a launch title for it. They're working that out, and like you said, if it goes into the next year of a delay, that's when the next PlayStation perhaps is being kind of floated around. Maybe the year after that. So if it is that year, the following year, maybe that becomes its launch title partnership kind of thing. There's so many different. Again, this game. I keep saying this. It is just a Pandora's box for everything. You have the Steam thing. There's just a Pandora's box as to what that can entail. GTA 6 is literally pulling the puppet strings of publishers and platform holders. That's wild. That they
And
have seemingly that much like allure and control.
it's wild as well. Like I I've heard a lot of the theories about GTA 6. Is Xbox positioning themselves for the best place to play Grand Theft Auto 6? And it's like, listen, I mean, I guess theoretically, if you just have the most powerful console on the market when the thing launches, then it's kind of a win by default. But if it wasn't really being built for that system, you're going to have, other than just raw horsepower, like just there's obviously an added benefit there without a doubt. Like you saw it with Cyberpunk 2077. If you played it
Yeah,
on a PS5 opposed to a PS4, you had a much better experience. But having a curated, like a game being built with a dev kit for that system is obviously going to lead to the best results. But I mean, by that time, who knows how long GTA 6 is about to get delayed again? Could it be where they do get dev kits for Xbox Hybrid 1 and are ready to launch into that thing? Like it is what I will say right now about video games is I'm more excited and curious about the future than I have been since 2017 with the Switch one. Like it's definitely the most fascinating time
yeah,
to like observe this industry right now.
yeah. There's no stagnation whatsoever. This is the biggest like shift and change we've seen in the industry in a long time. Um, and it's wild because you kind of saw big shifts like that when there wasn't as much available. Is kind of what usually spurns something like this to change. Dude, we're drowning in release titles, and they're
Right.
still changing. Like it's fucking wild. Like this year, even I don't even feel bad that I've missed out on title like Dispatch, for instance, and KCD2 because
You
there's
can't.
I can sit there and be like, yeah, I wish I played them. Where would I have got the time? There was 15 other things. Like it's crazy the amount of release.
Not even joking. If I were to have bought everything that I wanted to play this year, we're probably talking about like $5,000. I mean, if not more.
Mm.
It's just you. There's not the time. There's not the money. That's the number one problem in the industry right now. Is everybody is prognosticating about AAA games are dying, video games are dying. It's the crash. It's like if we see a crash, it's because there's too
Yeah, it's
much, not
oversaturation,
too.
and
Yeah,
there's
it's
no. You've seen. I think that's why Square's been a little bit more smart with Octopath's pricing point. I don't know if you saw that, with it being a little bit cheaper than a
mm-mm.
standard Square Enix release. I think
What
it's
are they doing?
50.
49?
It's
Nice.
50. Yeah. Um, Which also, I'll use this time because I don't think I actually got to say this before. A lot of people don't realize that was originally a mobile game, so do keep that in mind.
Oh, was it?
It was a mobile game called Champions of the Continent, I think is
Oh
what its name
man.
was, and they've remade it and they've changed and tinkered systems and stuff to make it more meaty, as it were. Um, but that was very smart of them because if they would have asked 70 for a fucking thing that's essentially a mobile game that's been spruced up, that's wild.
That would be rough. Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's kind of what you're. That will be my little prediction before we move on to what year we'll be choosing. Well, the will be choosing. Is that I think that's how the AAA industry needs to get used to. Just be flexible with your price point. Don't threaten either. Because that's kind of what hurt the Outer Worlds too, is threatening a price increase or a price point and then backing down. Because that's not. I said it when we reported it. It's not a win for gamers. You moved the cone yourself and then moved it back. There was no need for it to be increased in price, regardless. To be honest.
Well, yeah, well, the thing about the Outer Worlds too that was so astonishing was like that game, Microsoft, you're choosing that game where
Mm.
Obsidian has like come out and admitted that they make AA games. Like that's what they try to make is AA games so they can get them out quickly and have multiple chances at, kind of having some big hit. And they found that with like Grounded was probably their biggest hit in recent
Which
years.
it wouldn't have
And
been if it was 60. This is the
right,
thing, like price it accordingly is the thing. Like Silksong flew off the shelves. Arc Raiders is
$20.
Arc Raiders is doing as well as it is as well because it's cheaper than Battlefield as well. It's an alternative that if somebody held off on Battlefield, because there's a lot of crossover, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that decided to purchase both games. But if you held off Battlefield 6 in the anticipation of that, you're being rewarded for a cheaper game as well. So you're gonna feel even happier about it.
I'm
So
still waiting on damn Dying Light the Beast to drop in price. I literally look like 3 times a week on the PlayStation Store to see if it dropped in price at all.
did you not get the
I refuse.
season pass?
No. So I
No,
bought
because I bought it on
the
sale. I don't think I bought. No, I got Dying Light 2 at launch. I think shortly after launch, and then the season pass went on like really deep sale at one point. I didn't realize that was going to get you the Beast for free because they hadn't announced whatever that was at the time. But that's a good thing. I'll give them credit for that. Give them a bit of praise, giving everybody that free copy if you had the season pass.
it like right now if they announced today that they were doing a physical copy next year, I would buy it full price just to know like I don't want to buy this thing full price digitally until I know it's going to get a
How
physical copy.
how much is it? Out of
It's
curiosity.
60. Yeah.
Wow.
Steep. But I'm supposedly it's like a 20-hour game. A big budget 20-hour thing.
I mean, I'm more like wowing that they wanted the brownie points for giving it for free. That's for a 60 title. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was a little bit buggy at launch as well. So it's also the thing of I'm sure you're in no rush to experience game breaking bugs.
Honestly, I am kind of in a rush for that. Like
Oh,
I really do want to I want to play that before the end of the year, man, because Dying Light 1 was one of my top 5 favorite games of 2015. Dying Light 2 was I think one of my top 10 favorite games of 2022. I fucking love that franchise. And I am in a point now where I really don't know if I have a game of the year. And so it's like
oh,
that
for
would be the
real?
per yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it because that's the thing. I always wait until I do the rankings before I start thinking about my rankings because I
Mm,
think it's just more fun to do it on the
I think
fly. But like
it's fresh on my mind because I've been building fucking. We got a Discord uh awards things that we're going to be doing. So I had to build the lists of that and grab a bunch of games to try and so that's fresh on my mind. There's just so many. There's so many titles though that
it's
like when I
so
was scrolling
many.
through it, it's like you see. I know we dig them out, the Expedition fans for being loud and stuff like
They
that,
suck.
and and KCD2 and stuff like that. But like
They suck too.
It's the thing of when I was getting more and more names, like, yeah, they're really amazing games. But there's so many games that like equally deserve to be up there that don't seem to be having anywhere near the amount of recognition. And it was just like and it was like a full
Right.
20 list. Like it's not like, oh yeah, you could push it to like 8. It was like you could probably argue like 15 of these games have a right to be on that like final 6. Like that's wild.
Dude, no shit. Like, it's crazy you say that because the other day I was thinking about a video idea where, but I don't know how to spin it. But I think you could take like 20 games from 2025 and replace the vast majority of game of the year contenders from 2024, 23, 22. Well, not
Ooh.
23, not 2023, but
I get where it's
2025.
going, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 2025, I think has better. You could get to like the 17th best game of 2025, and I think it beats Stray. Or I think it beats I love A Plague Tale Requiem, but I think it would beat A Plague Tale Requiem. Or I think it would beat um Resident Evil Village from
Mm.
2021 or Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart or Psychonauts 2 or whatever you know what I mean, like going down that line of like, because what is Dispatch? Is Dispatch like the probably 16th choice, 18th choice, something
I
like
don't
that?
know. I'll let you know.
But you know what I
I
mean?
would
Like
hope
if
it
you
was
had,
on the list. You're making me worry that I've missed it.
well, no, but
Has
I'm
to
just
have been
saying
on that list.
general consensus. Like I think if you surveyed people and like if you surveyed 10,000 people and they had to build out their top 20 list, I think Dispatch would probably be like around that 15 to 20 mark. And I think Dispatch,
17th.
right. But like, I genuinely think Dispatch. Are you telling me Dispatch wouldn't get nominated over Stray? Dispatch had a much larger impact on the industry than something like Stray,
Mm.
or even a Plague Tale, which I love a Plague Tale much more than I love Dispatch. But it, Dispatch definitely had a bigger impact on the industry, and I don't know if it's a better game than Plague Tale personally, but I could see someone making the argument.
No, that's the thing. Like in years past, you would get that final 6, and it felt like, yeah, they that makes sense that that's a final 6. As this year began to like really heavily unfold, you're like, how like there's gonna be a major amount of snubs, like an
Right.
insane amount of like games that are just gonna get overlooked, buried, and then forgotten about, essentially, because the game awards also heavily shines light on putting 6 names up there and people are arguing why them 6 deserve to be
Mm-hmm.
there. That's the big thing. That's free marketing for people to be like, oh well, I'm gonna go get that. It's on. They go to their storefront and they're like, oh, that's actually on sale. And I've just listened to somebody sit there and get into a Twitter argument for 45 minutes as to why that deserves to be game of the year. I'll go and give it a go. And there's just going to be
Right.
like 15 to 20 titles that are just unfortunately have no chance in hell of getting there because there's just way too much competition.
Well, you might have just mentioned two of them that are landmark, groundbreaking titles. One that is the first mainstream extraction shooter of all time, that's like really breaking in with Embark with
Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders, and then fucking Battlefield comes along and has a smash mega hit. And if I'm being honest, Loon, I don't know if either of them end up in the final six.
Battlefield 6 has, in my opinion, no chance. There's been a lot of, what do you call it, noise around Arc Raiders having a right to be on there, which you have a much greater memory. Did PUBG make the final 6 when it came out in that year?
I don't remember. That would have been
Because
20.
that's where I'm thinking like you have Overwatch, which was like what 2016,
Yeah.
2015, around about that year era, and that actually won Game of the Year. Um, Obviously Marvel Rivals came out with like a splash in the way that it did as well, but yeah, there seems to just be a massive yearning for Arc Raiders more so than Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 seems to have kind of slowed down a lot.
Yeah, PUBG was nominated in 2017,
Mm.
but yeah, I agree with you. It's like once again, these games don't get enough time in the sun to really be like the water cooler discussion. Once again, going back to Dispatch, it's like no other game it recently has had even what Dispatch has of just the water cooler discussion just based on their rollout of content. It's fucking scary. Like it's genuinely scary how this did not happen. When The Witcher 3 came out, that was talk of the town, man, for I mean, at least a full month of that being the game that was discussed. You open Twitter, scrolling through forums, like that was the game that was discussed. Metal Gear Solid 5 was the game that was discussed. And it's like now you do not have the game that's getting discussed. There's no like monoculture. There's all these I don't really know even like segmented fan bases of I think we've talked about it before where a game comes out and you see it sells 1 million copies and then
Oh my god, I've been seeing that with KCD too. Have you seen that on Twitter? It's been like floating around
uh-uh.
recently where some people are like trying to really they're trying to compare that and Ghost of Yotei sales, and there's
Why?
both sides arguing that they were failures or whatever. Because the argument that they're tackling KCD2 from is it was available on all platforms and only sold that much money. And then you have people who are attacking the Sony side where it's like they have an install base of this much and it only sold that much. And it's like, you people, what are you talking about? They were both fucking massive successes.
Big
What is there
hits.
like? What is there to argue? I'm like, they didn't cost $400 million to make each. They were both fairly lean budgets, and they've done well.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you like? What is the argument here? And it's just like these echo chambers are the things that hurt it a lot. Of like having the chance for people to latch onto them games and love it because they just make their fan bases impenetrable
Well,
as well.
yeah, it
Of just they're so I can't think of the word um intolerable. Like they're just annoying to interact with. Like it feels
mm,
it's the thing of like with Expedition 33, I didn't see it in the beginning like you did. You seem to have got that rollout a lot more quicker where people are being very up themselves and very fucking big headed. And it's the
mm.
type of thing of like you really sour like it's I think I've said this before on this channel as well with like when the Souls gamers began to take off and you just had this group of people that made it their fucking sole mission to just be insufferable
Yeah.
and make it seem like it's God's gift and that nobody like oh I liked it before it was cool and stuff and like oh
Yeah.
you use summons well you didn't play the game like there's always just this level of pretentiousness and
Mhm.
can we just
Yeah.
they're both like in an industry and era like where we're getting as much as we are it's now more than ever important to celebrate when they do well
Yeah,
because
man.
there's so many releases that sink like they are
Well,
both fucking huge successes.
there's a major problem as well with creators where you don't want to admit you're wrong. And like that's always been a weird thing to me because I think that's like one of the most attractive like qualities and personality traits in a human being is like being able to admit you're wrong. I think is such an attractive quality that people have. And like you'll see someone just dig their heels in where they're like, Ghost of Yotei's bombing or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is bombing and it's or whatever game. And then it comes out like the data is proven otherwise. And then you're like, you refuse to backtrack because you don't want to admit defeat where it's like, I don't know, I think that's such an attractive quality in a human being where they're like, no, the data is right there. I was clearly wrong. Like, I mean, I had to do that with Veilguard. Remember where I was like, I think Veilguard is gonna go on to be a
Mm.
smash fucking hit, and uh, like those concurrent player numbers, we need to re-examine that at some point. Just in like that fucking thing had crazy peak concurrent player numbers. That would mean that that game got refunded to the nines, and which that's telling as well. That's a very big problem. If people play your game for a couple hours and they don't think it's worth continuing and they want a refund, like that's a major fucking problem. But regardless, it's like the data came out. it was very conclusive. EA said it did not meet expectations, and then it's like, well, yeah, I gotta admit I'm wrong. I'm completely fucking wrong on that. And I don't really, I don't understand why you are so attached to the idea of something succeeding or failing unless like I'm not invested in EA. I have no investment at all. I've never invested in EA stock or Sony stock. I don't give a fuck if they succeed or fail, honestly.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the way to word it to quickly like go back on like when you're saying when you have to admit you're wrong, right? It's a good trait to have as a human.
Hmm.
It also because I'm going to use the example of Battlefield 6 when we were talking about predicting what its concurrent players would be. Obviously, I didn't want it to fail or whatever. I have no fucking stake in that and stuff like that. I didn't think it would get to the number that it did. It did. It surpassed that fucking shitloads. And you admit that you're wrong. It's because you gave your opinion on something. And I think to me, that's when they don't back down, it almost feels like either you're extremely ignorant or that wasn't actually a true opinion. You're just doing it
Hmm.
because it's
Clickable.
clickable and easy. Because when you
Right.
don't back down from it, like that's the only two routes I see. Is like you either truly believe that and you're really stupid and probably shouldn't be reporting on it because that's not good reporting to just say
Right.
that oh I predicted it I was also wrong but I refuse to admit I'm wrong and I'm gonna try and spin this in any way shape or form I can to prove that I was right. Like no, don't do
Yeah.
that. And then yeah,
Well,
because it's just weird. It's just weird.
yeah.
Like you can like something and it not do well as well. There's no harm in that. Like I enjoyed Velgard. I think you said you enjoyed Velgard.
Yeah.
It
It didn't do well.
it didn't do well. It killed the
Or not well
series.
enough. Yeah.
No, it didn't do well at all. Like I'm not even. There's no way of like it alienated a lot of things for a lot of people. People had what they hoped for, and then what the reality was, and it didn't meet that. And now that is dead in the water. That's fine.
It,
These things
it,
happen.
it's like, dude, my entire fucking personality is based around sleeping dogs and Alpha Protocol. It's like you don't see a Sleeping Dogs 2 or an Alpha Protocol 2. Those games did not do well. They underperformed on a commercial level. And it's like that I don't know, that's fine. That's reality. You know, it's just a it's an interesting time where because that it kind of removes the entire fun of predicting things, right? Where if you I don't understand what's fun about predicting something. Like I love predicting sales and predicting
But if you knew
Metacritic
what they were gonna
scores and
be every like for instance, like sitting there and being like, I think Call of Duty is gonna sell well this year. No shit. Even if it's the weakest entry in the series, it will sell well.
yeah, but it's like if you're wrong, that's where the fun comes in. If
Oh
you're
yeah,
right about everything, it's
exactly.
like being wrong is fun. It's like, oh
Because
my
you're able
God.
to pluck the thread as to why you truly believed that. Why did
Yeah,
you think Veilguard was it? Well, because this, and this. And it's just it opens the door for a hell of a lot more of an interesting conversation than
it-
because like you said, like it helped ironically when you said that with the GTA prediction and it got delayed. It's like
right. Yeah,
like it's annoying it got delayed for you, I'm sure. Like, oh, I want it now. But it's
of
like, okay,
course.
well what because we went into it in the beginning of the video. Well, what does this now have a snowball effect on elsewhere? Like this isn't
Yeah.
just a closed case scenario. Like now that that's been
Yeah.
delayed, this is going to affect that. This could then change this. This could then turn into a launch title. Oh, just and then you get to have a whole fucking load of new predictions.
Exactly. And I don't know, as somebody who like I love predictions. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. I've done it for, 6 years on creating content, predicting random different things. And that's why the Steam machine gets announced, I'm immediately like predicting sales, predicting price. GTA 6, I'm predicting price, I'm predicting I'm so I love that stuff, but a big part of it is I like being wrong. I like being completely surprised by I mean, of course, I don't want to be surprised in terms of pricing. I would like to be positively or pleasantly surprised in terms of pricing, but it's fun to be wrong, you know? It's I yeah, that's such a bummer to me of how people are so committed to being correct and they feel like they lose some credibility if they're incorrect. It's like, man, being wrong is fun if you feel no burden. You feel free. Like you're just
Yeah.
shooting the shit, like old
I'll
school.
I'll play. This will be obviously the last thing. I'm gonna move on. Play the minor devil's advocate, and I can understand also why you're afraid to get things wrong as well, and why they do kind of dig their heels in the other sense is because they make a lot of people on these platforms make it their whole life about predicting things, and people are so
Mm.
cynical when they get things wrong, and then they throw, well, you're not a trustworthy source anymore. Well, and then
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that, their whole image and stuff like that is ruined. And don't get me wrong, digging in your heels that also doesn't help your image. But there's people who have decided to dig in their heels and they're fine. It's kind of wild. Like they don't really get punished. Whereas if somebody backtracks, you've sinned, then people go, well, we can't trust what you say. You got it wrong. You got it wrong. And then they just fade into obscurity. It's a weird double-edged sword where it's like you're playing the game both ways
You
almost.
know what? You hit on something that I didn't even factor in. The reason why those guys double down so much is because they're pretending to be insiders more than
Mm.
like yeah, that's the thing. It's like you can't get shit wrong if you're an insider because then you do lose all credibility. But yeah, it's
There's hardly any. I'm gonna be really blunt here. There's hardly any actual real insiders than what
there's
people
like
actually
four.
make. Yeah, than that they actually make out to be. There's
Yeah.
so many people that just you just chat shit. You're shooting in the dark. Maybe sometimes you get a hit and you guess something, and it's like, yeah, man, taking that to the fucking bank. Booyah.
Well, and then there's people who are used by certain companies to promote like certain like they get the same PR statements from the companies and it's like that's their duty to go and report on that and then they end up looking really bad later on down the road because the company fed them bullshit, but it's like that kind of is their job to report on it because they do have the inside source, the inside track. But like other than Tom Warren, Jeff Grubb, Jason Schreier, uh,
I can't name anymore because the rest of them they report on stuff, but a lot of it is opinion most of the time. Like nothing like against like Jez Corden and stuff like that. Like I like reading his stuff, but like I don't think he has like a huge foot in the door anywhere. He's a reporter and stuff, and he's like an executive here. I think he's an insider personally. I think he would
well,
fall into that camp. He maybe has extra sources that others wouldn't tap
definitely.
into, of course.
That's the thing. He's an interesting one because he definitely has a direct line to Xbox. And he definitely gets inside scoops without a doubt. Like without a doubt. I got to give him his credit there. But it's kind of that thing once again, unfortunately, because of that, he'll report on something that they've said, but in 3 months down the road, it looks completely asinine because they've changed their
Mm.
plan so drastically. So it then makes him in turn look bad when it's like, I don't know, he's
See,
kind of just reporting on what they said.
that's the splitting threads, isn't it? Of if you were a true, I don't want to discredit him in any way, but like, if you were a true, it's you would have fresh information. You would be able to pivot off of that. So it's kind of like almost a scapegoat. It feels like they use some of these people for, where you can kind of be like, yeah, feed them that, keep them happy for a bit while we pivot because this isn't actually going to work. kind of
Oh,
thing.
they
Does that make?
without a doubt they definitely have people they manipulate in the
Mm,
media. Like all these companies
yeah.
definitely have people they manipulate in the media. Without a shadow of a doubt, that's true.
Mm,
But yeah, Jez Corden's one of those ones that's interesting because he is like on the fringe of insider, but it's almost unreliable information, but not due to his own like he definitely likes Xbox and has a preference
oh
for
yeah.
Xbox,
I
and
was
that
gonna say
can
there's definitely a thread of bias there.
for sure.
I don't think there's I don't think that's particularly negative.
No, I mean
Um,
bias is natural, but I do think that by and large he does have a pretty damn solid track record.
hmm.
It's just manipulated, very manipulated. And like what do you do? Like if you have the inside scoop directly to Microsoft and Xbox, of course you're going to use it. Of course you're going to report on that stuff. Like not many people have that. I mean, he's really one of the only people that have that.
Oh, that was a 35-minute intro.
It's
Oh
yeah.
boy. Oh
I
boy.
it's crazy. The people don't know we probably had a
We had like a
hour and 30
2 hour
minute.
fucking discussion before this about
Yeah.
random shit in the industry. And I mean, you pointed out and was like, well, we could have made that a video. And yep, that is always the case. I think we say that every single time.
Dude, yeah, you really should. Just don't even tell me. Just fucking hit record as soon as we start going and run it. I don't care at all. I everything that I say in my well, not everything that I say, but pretty much everything that I'll say in my private life, I'm more than happy to say on camera. I don't I just shoot the shit, man. I
Mm,
this I'm pretty much by and large, really the thing that's oh boy, you caught a rambly ass version of me today. But last thing I'll say, and we'll get into our topic. It's funny because you and I both get the same criticism, where we're both so monotone and so
mm,
unenergetic, and it's funny to get that criticism knowing how much I ramp it up for the camera. Like I actually do try to add energy to like when I'm speaking to the camera. Like even now, as quick as I'm speaking, like I do definitely speak different in just normal conversation in my day-to-day life. I'm much more I know it sounds crazy to people, but I swear to God, I'm even more boring and chill. Like I barely have any energy as I'm speaking to people in my day-to-day life.
well, I lied. We'll pull that thread and then we'll move on. I saw a video of Jesse Cox and Crendor, and they were talking about I don't know if you heard of the millennial pools. Do you know what that is?
I don't.
People who are around in like from the millennial stage. When you record a video, you don't immediately like jump into it. Does that make sense? Like you click record and then there's like a 2 second pause because when we use technology, it wasn't snappy.
Oh, like it
So
didn't
you
work
would,
immediately.
yeah. So you would like pause
Yeah.
and make sure everything. All right, is that working? Is that working? Is that? And that's what the pause is. And they were talking about that. And like, because where I'm like pulling that thread is, I wonder if the people that are criticizing, and there's nothing wrong with this either. Like, have your own criticisms, but is that a different era though as well of like the big chirpy, jumpy around, like really heavily energetic people? Seems to be a lot more in the
Mm,
space now than it was back then. Like you had people who made YouTube videos of gaming created content like horror games that would jump out, but like I don't know, you think of like talk show hosts and stuff like that. Like they weren't jumping around and fully energetic.
right.
Like it was always calm and collect, and that's kind of like I don't know. Some people just have that kind of demeanor, and that's
Hmm.
because you're definitely a hell of a lot more. You put we both are fairly monotone, but you actually put effort in. I'll happily put my I don't. I
Well,
can't because I have like a I don't even know how you'd explain it. Like if I did that, I would crash out within about 30 minutes. Like right now
yeah.
we're at 38 minutes. I would be like tapped out. I wouldn't be able to continue because I would have just expend all of my social energy.
Right, right, right. Yeah, no,
I
that's a
don't
good way
have
of
that
putting
in
it,
me,
social
man. I
energy.
don't have that in me. I can get a little bit perky. Like when we're going to be doing the game awards and stuff, I'll get a little bit excited when I see Pillars 3 announced. Wink, wink. Um, but
Hey, I
no,
don't
like a
know.
lot of it is just I don't know. It's just not who I am, and it feels wrong to fake it at some stage as well. Like it's I polishing it up a little bit is probably what should be done on my end. Maybe put a little bit more energy into it. But like overhauling your entire personality, which you don't do. I want this. I'm not. This isn't a criticism to you. This is like some people do when they flick on a camera. They 180. That's not who they are, and it's all for just show. And then when they come off, because you hear it all the time in like Hollywood and stuff, where it's like, oh, I love this actor and stuff like that, or I love this person, and then they meet them in real life and they're, wow, they're fucking miserable people.
Hmm.
And it's just like, yes, because they're acting, and like a lot of people who do content creation, they act
Yeah, I guess that's
because
the thing.
that's getting your
It's
foot
like,
in the door. You need to be likable to
well,
get
I,
success.
I, yeah, you're 100% right. And I guess that's like, I, I am miserable in my day-to-day life, and I hope that comes across on camera as well.
I hope you're as miserable as us as we've drug out that 40-minute intro
Oh man.
because we that's that millennial pause is what that was. Hope you enjoyed it.
40-minute pause.
Yeah. All right. Can we quickly pause?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wonder how many other like we were talking about the millennial pause as well. How many people actually do countdowns in? Because I know you don't do that, right? You just
No, I don't think
kind of
so.
say we're doing it, and then there's like a pause, and then you throw yourself into it.
Yeah,
Man, people
I
do
think
just
that's what
different things differently. The way the
Yeah.
mind works. Alrighty. So, as I said, 40 minutes in, and we're finally getting to the topic.
I
Right.
honestly don't think this necessarily will take a very long time, potentially. Like the actual discussion, I don't think will necessarily be a super long thing, as we're only talking about 10 games, right?
I mean, it depends on what hill you want to die on for your sports games, so that
That's
is.
true, I guess.
But to do the TLDR, um, we're gonna do. I think this is it, right? Here you go. You can see it. There's just gonna be a wheel spin. We chose to do, as I said, with the game of the year season heading up. We wanted to try and revisit retro game of the years, and because what was the first year for the Game Awards? 2014.
2014, yep.
So the idea between this, if this obviously does well, we'll be knocking out from 2004, I think, right? Is what you wanted to start from?
I think it's a good idea just to do random years, like just not in any particular order,
Okay.
just kind of whichever random year. Like the wheel spin right now is between 2004 and 2007, right?
Yeah, for this one.
And just like picking some of the greatest years of all time, like '04 and
Mm-hmm.
'07 all-time great years, 1998, 2001 all-time great years, and just having like a little fantasy draft, debate, game of the year ranking, all collaborating into one concoction. Do you have a list, like a Google Doc or something
So
like
I
that?
have a, I don't know what this is called, Microsoft Note,
Okay, yeah, I love
I think.
Microsoft. The OneNote thing.
And well, what I'll do is I'll show it on the screen so they can see it.
Yeah,
I need to hide us. Goodbye. Yeah. So it's just I've done retro game of the year debate, and then I've done a column for us, a column for me, a column for you, and then the actual list. So it'll be my five picks, your five picks, and then the actual list is the combined top 10. And then we're going to be, to my understanding, battling it out as to what that yes, and I shouldn't. I think I threw you out of the thing, so it threw your mic out. So
oh, it's okay.
let's not do that. Um, this needs to be rearranged. Then apologies, guys. There we go. Throw that to the top. So yeah, and then we'll be battling it out from my five picks, your five picks, and then we're doing a combined top 10. Right?
Perfect.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, let's kick this off with what the year is going to be.
Spin that wheel.
I don't know why this breaks the way that that does. Oh my god, that was so close. Yeah, kicking things off, 2007.
2007. Interesting. Okay. How do you want to go about choosing who selects first?
Um, you can choose first. Show game of the year 2007.
So it's interesting because I was actually going to structure my list differently. I was thinking we were going to put all of our games into one and just have the 10 rolled out in the order of our selections and then have to debate and like reorganize the list based upon that. So it I my plan for this was a lot different than like my game of the year for 2007 is Mass Effect 1 for sure, without a doubt, bar none. But that wouldn't have been my first selection depending on how we were doing the organization because I would want to manipulate the data and I would want to have something else at that number one spot just in the hopes that it could kind of stay towards the top and wouldn't slip down. But Mass Effect 1 will be my first choice. I'll I'll
Okay.
I'll go ahead and take Mass Effect 1.
Okay. I think it's to be fair, it is kind of I don't know how you do this. There we go. People who know us probably know what we were going to choose per se.
Hmm.
I think it's also important though to shed light on because there's a bunch of obviously this is in the case of 2007. There's a bunch of 2007 games which I've got listed down here that I haven't really talked about that are personal to me because this is what it is, a personal list that we're going to try and argue where this ranking for the top 10 of that year are.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
I Mass Effect 1 is easily like by far my number one for 2007. Some other really good games on here, but Mass Effect 1 certainly the top of that list.
yeah, and it's really important to remember just how this was the title that kind of heavily put them on the map, right? Because they did Jade Empire, they did like Baldur's Gate, but this was like their first like original IP that felt like it was going somewhere, like out of
Mm,
like Jade Empire was great and all, but this is like so close to mimicking Star Wars in a way, which
yeah.
was obviously huge back in 2007 and the years prior to that. Like it was a cultural phenomenon, and having this be what they chose to pivot into is yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go from KOTOR to this was such a natural transition, but this obviously leaving the turn base behind and heading
Mm,
into the new generation of consoles, launching exclusively on the 360 for a little bit, and yeah, it was a landmark title. And then of course what it did for just branching narratives and all of that with the following games. But it's yeah, Mass Effect 1 is honestly there's nothing even close for 2007 for me.
yep.
Not even like remotely close.
I am gonna be predictable because yeah, you took the one that that made sense.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm gonna go with Lost Odyssey
Interesting.
for me.
Okay.
Um, I think I've spelled that wrong. Yeah. Yeah, Lost Odyssey. Just it's so unfortunate that it launched on the 360, man. If this was like a multi-platform title, this would have been so much more damn successful and kind of helped because there was a little bit of a lull period during the 360 generation for JRPGs. Like they didn't. There's a lot of people who think they died out. They didn't. Like there were shitloads of them released. It just kind of they didn't have the spark that they did in years prior. It didn't. The flame didn't burn as bright as it once did. And I think if this launched on PlayStation 3 and PC, for instance, and obviously Xbox is where it launched, whatever Nintendo platform was kicking around back then, and it was all available on those things, I think it would have been really, really special. A lot more people would have cared about it.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to see where it falls on the collective top 10. Not a landmark title in terms of, you know, a game changer for the genre. Just didn't quite hit that commercial success, but a smash hit critical darling for sure. All right. My second pick, third pick overall, I will select. Whew, I will take BioShock 1 with my second selection. This is, you know, of course, you're talking about one of the greatest stories of all time, and just the idea of agency in a game and examining that with the, the ending that everybody knows about that I don't need to go into much more, but it's certainly one of those titles from the mid 2000s that pushed storytelling forward in a major way, and also it just plays well. Like BioShock 1 still plays very, very well. It's a fun ass game to play in terms of taking the Deus Ex and the System Shock and the immersive sim genre to the mainstream and making it kind of an accessible first person shooter, first person melee game of sorts. Just feels good to play on a controller, it's not this PC centric game, you know?
It's kind of wild. I can't remember where I saw it, but there were some people who have the opinion that like they haven't held up in the gameplay department, like Bioshock One, Two, and Infinite, and it's a bit of a surprise that some people feel that way. I think they've held up pretty damn well, especially considering, like this is 2007. Like for what it was doing, I don't think it's clunky like a lot of other games that were out in 2007.
God, no. I
Um,
mean,
it simplified things to fit on a console more comfortably. If it rather than if this was like solely based in development for PC, but I think it's aged pretty damn well, in my opinion.
yeah, and listen, like that's not going to be the thing that people remember BioShock from, of course. I'm not saying the gameplay is the star of the show, but it did take a genre, the immersive sim genre, and brought it to a whole new audience because you got to remember as well, Deus Ex, what was it? Human Revolution, that was 2010 or 2011. So this was even quite a bit before that. And I think you can see some lessons learned for Human Revolution from BioShock. But like, of course, the objectivism and all of that, the like that's the shit that people are gonna remember, right? The overarching themes with the Randianism and objectivism and the whole like rapture and everything about the world is what you're going to remember from BioShock. I'm not sitting here and trying to say that the storytelling or the gameplay is the star of the show. The storytelling absolutely is. Until you get to BioShock Infinite, that's about as good as you can get for, in my opinion, that is probably top five first person shooter just in terms of moment to moment gameplay, single player campaign ever. So fucking good. But story falls a little bit short. This is kind of the reverse, but definitely it is not aged poorly at all.
What we was talking about in the lead up to this topic, there's so many to choose. I feel bad some are going to get left out because I know you have a list because we also had to compile the trailers. You have things that aren't even on my list, and I've got like 15 things here, so things are going to get snubbed.
Yeah, I'm looking at my list right now and I'm like, damn.
Oh damn! Nah, I need to crack down, man. It doesn't get
Ooh.
enough love. You're talking um you're talking about like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like a collectathon that actually felt fun to play. Does that make sense? Like it
Oh yeah.
everything where you're collecting each of these orbs, you actually wanted to do it. It wasn't just you're ticking off a checklist, which is what it is masking. It's of course that is what you're technically doing. But every single time you're doing it, it was feeding into like an RPG system of every time you're grabbing it, you're getting stronger. You can shoot better. You can jump better. You do the driving things. You drive better. You can drive faster. You get better. Like everything was just so perfectly laid out, and I don't hear anyone ever talk about it as a game. Like it's one of them exclusives that kind of fell into obscurity almost. Obviously, Crackdown 3 came out and nobody really cared. Um, I don't know if there's any way of technically revitalizing the series. It may just be a product of its time. Um, but yeah, no, Crackdown 1, just, I have so many fond memories of it, of just being like, holy shit, like, because you have collectathon games before, but the open world is so big. And it has like mild reactivity as well, like very, very, very vague and mild reactivity of you have all these crime bosses and they have underbosses and soldiers and stuff. And the more you take out the less health they have when you go for the big boss and stuff like that, and the less resources they have at their disposal. So their home bases are less guarded and stuff like that. And it's just like that doesn't get. It's 2007, man. That's pretty thinking outside of the box for what it is. It's just a very simple game. They didn't have to do that at all.
Well, it's funny too, you talk about the, collectathon nature and thinking about that in an open world in 2007 and really thinking about that in open world in general, right? Where it's not, those are not necessarily synonymous one another with one another. The collectathon genre is typically found in very linear spaces
Mm.
because it's kind of hard to make collecting things in a big open map fun, but they managed to do that, which, yeah, major, major props there.
Yep.
All right. So, fifth on the board, my third selection. I'm going to go with Uncharted 1. I played through this year or replayed through this year, and I was surprised by both how dated it is and how much it holds up in kind of different respects. I think funnily enough, the storytelling and like the production quality and just the cinematic design is actually where it feels the most outdated to me. I think gameplay wise, it's fine. Like going back to it, it's definitely not as good as Uncharted 2 and certainly not as good as 3 and definitely not as good as 4. But for 2007, third person cover shooter, like it feels good to play. It feels good to shoot, feels good to move. Climbing and the platforming, like all of that feels as you would expect. But the thing that really holds this back from the greatness from Uncharted 2 and 4 and that ilk is like it's not as much of a big blockbuster thing. It feels like they're definitely getting their footing with Uncharted 1. But absolutely excellent foundation to lay in 2007. So, yeah, I mean, it went on to become one of my favorite video game franchises of all time, probably top 3 for me. This is the game that really laid that entire framework. So Uncharted 1 certainly has to be on my team.
Yeah, to give it just a little bit more credit, like me transitioning and picking up a PS4 for Bloodborne, whenever that was, whatever year, and obviously getting the opportunity to experience the Sony first party lineup that I didn't back at launch. When you go and you get the remaster and stuff like that, and it just feels crisp still. Like that shows just how good the product was even for its time, and it's still fairly well held up. Like, don't get me wrong, you stack it up, you know, next to Uncharted 4, yeah, it's a night and day difference, but this
Of
game is
course.
so good still. Like you could probably have this release now and it do fairly well with a little bit of like polishing up in like the visuals and stuff like that. Like people would happily go and play a title like this now.
I would revisit this thing a couple times a year. Like if, of course, with a little bit of, if you tinker with it, create a little bit of a different scenario, a different setting, a slightly different character. But like this style of game, if you just gave me something as simple as Uncharted 1
Hmm,
with a slightly new coat of paint every year, I'd be thrilled to go through and play it. Like I could play this endlessly.
yeah, so it's such a great game, man. 2007, what a year.
Stacked year. Yeah, I'm looking at the rest of my list and I'm like, I'm running out of room and I'm not running out of games. That's a problem.
Oh, I'm gonna branch away from the exclusive front. I'm actually gonna pick Crisis.
Hmm.
Um, this,
Landmark title.
yeah, I mean, it made such a huge impact in gaming. You know, the phrase "Can it run Crisis"
Right.
for PCs and stuff like that. Like when you create something like that, you've clearly got something very, very special on your plate. Um, I didn't play it on PC. I played it on 360 much later down the line. But even just now, like they never recaptured this. Like Crisis 2 and 3 are fun, but there was just something unique about what they were approaching here with like the destructibility and just the way you're able to approach missions and stuff like that. Yeah, it's there was rumors that they're revisiting the IP, right? There's like murmurings that there might be a
Hmm.
Crisis 4.
Yeah,
I
I saw
don't
that.
know. It's the type of thing of like, what can you do now? Because the big thing that made it special is that there was no game doing scope and destruction as much as this, and looking as good as it is. Like these types of things are kind of expected nowadays. We've kind of become a little bit entitled as gamers. So I don't know what like they could do to extra branch out of the box to try and recapture what made that special.
I think that they could, like, you look at the super high-end PC market and the new Xbox, like, what if it was a game that was really just for that? Like, just for, and of course, that's going to be very hard to pitch to investors. They're like, wait, you want to launch this into an install base of how many people? But, like, in terms of recapturing that zeitgeist of this can it run crisis, like have it to where it really it puts it to the test where it is only the most powerful machines that are able to run this thing, and maybe you release it everywhere else, like sure you can try, but it's one of those things that's only going to run on those beasts.
Yeah, it's just my I don't know how many people react to that now of things that look that good, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, people obviously that will trumpet it, but the I think we've spoken about this before. Like the base foundation for what like visual fidelity is has moved so
Hmm.
far up now.
Yeah,
The
that is
difference
true.
between the lowest bar of what you would expect from a double A game example vanishes and stuff like that. Like they're fairly smaller budget, small studio kind of things in comparison to the highest. Like it's not true night and day difference anymore. Like they can hold their own in the graphics department. So that would be my only worry. But yeah, Crisis, what a damn game for 2007.
That's a man. So we're on our seventh selection overall, and
And it feels unfair. But what you got?
I'm gonna go with Skate, the first
Ooh,
Skate.
some skate
I
love.
Yeah, I think that this just came out kind of at the perfect time where the Tony Hawk fatigue was starting to set in a little bit. Like they had made so many into you go through your all of your underground games at this point. Obviously, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 through 4 before that. And then you're into American Wasteland and Project 8, and you have all of these games that are just constantly flooding the market. And there was definitely a sense of fatigue setting in, but I don't think people wanted to move on from skateboarding games. They just wanted something with a different flavor. And
Mm.
EA comes along and funds this simulation skateboarding game, like straight up semi as fuck, low to the ground, low pace. It's a very methodical approach to the extreme sports genre where it was kind of like the skateboarder skating game. And I'm absolutely not a skateboarder, but I appreciate their art form, and I appreciated seeing it through this different lens of like, no, this is kind of more a grounded, realistic take on this art form, this sport. And yeah, I think that I love both styles so much, the Tony Hawk style over the top arcadey, but I also I miss this. And seeing Skate come back this year and be, I know some people found it addictive and enjoy that moment to moment gameplay, but to see it getting a little bit too zany, at least for my liking, and I'm just like, damn. But it's the thing again where back to the Doom account in 2016, right, or 2018, whatever, where it's you control the buttons you press. You can play that new skate game and have it feel slowed down and less arcadey. But it's just having Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 come out this year and Skate in the same year. It would be such if Skate really hit it out of the park this year, we would be legitimately in a revitalized, almost new golden age because you also have Skate Story that's coming out this year. You have like the skateboarding subgenre, whatever you want to call it, is kind of somewhat percolating, and it's just
Yeah, because
the actual
Session
game
came out the other
Skate.
year, right? I don't know if it got its
Yeah,
full release. It was in game preview, so there's a yearning for it. But yeah, I've not seen really any talk about that new skate game. It kind of came out. There was
not a lot of positive talk.
a little bit of buzz when it first came out for some people making cool clips and everything, and then it kind of just it fizzled out. I think it's kind of it's live service sandboxy esque, right? It's not like a proper like with Skate Free, like you had like a sandbox esque thing, but you still had like a narrative that you were doing. You had
Yeah.
conversations with characters and missions and stuff like that. I don't think there's as much or any of that at all.
No, there's just very little reason
Mm.
for me to play it personally. Like, I'm with you. I'm there for the story, and if the story is not there, it's just like that's my purpose for playing the game. You know, like I want to get through the objectives, and I want to see the story unfold, and you know pick my brand sponsor. Like I want to do all that shit, and if that's not there, then I don't really have any interest in playing it. I just honestly, even if it was there, like if I could just select a mode in Skate and be like, okay, well, here's the campaign mode, and you can monetize the fuck out of me, sure, whatever, but just let me play through the campaign. I'd be happy to do that, but I just don't want to engage in like a living world where I'm seeing other players running around. And it's like, oh God,
Especially as the spine of the game, because that never ends well, unfortunately.
yeah,
Because it's what that is a constant reminder is that it's a ticking time bomb, like the
exactly,
crew was, and a lot of people were like angry about it. It's like it was marketed as an MMO racing game. It was always gonna have, you know, unfortunately, an expiry date at some point.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So that was your fourth choice.
It's so funny. I'm looking at this damn list, and like, there's multiple games on here that I golly, this is yeah. 2007's more stacked than I even thought. There's quite a few games on here I would love to add, but we're at that at this point we're completely out of room.
Yep, there's no wiggle room, I'm afraid. And I'm gonna go with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. Um, yeah, I don't know if you experienced this at launch. Did you did you play this at launch?
I'm not a Call of Duty guy at all, but it was impossible to not experience, like it was a
It
zeitgeist moment.
it's absolutely. I don't think that they've ever been able to capture what this essence delivered because it was Call of Duty was a household name for World War II shooters. The thought that they would go into a modern warfare setting and like run away with it like they did is crazy. You're talking like the World War II campaigns as well up until that point were fairly cliche. It was good versus evil and stuff like that, and you kind of knew what to expect. Yeah, you go, you do your objective and stuff like that, and like there's moments in this game where it's like put yourself back into 2007 shoe, and it kind of shows you that no, you're not untouchable. You're a soldier just like anybody else, and the choices that they make in that campaign, the iconic missions that they put in, like the stealth mission that everybody knows about, and then thinking about like buying that game, finishing it, and then going back to the menu, and then you have multiplayer there. and what that offered at the time is it still is kind of difficult to wrap your head around. If I'm being honest, like putting myself back into 2007 shoe and just being like, wow, because that was like an addictive multiplayer. Like, don't get me wrong, I have much more fonder experiences with Modern Warfare 2 personally. That's where my
Yeah.
bread and butter was. But this is like what set it on the map and down that road of no, like this is where Call of Duty is going to be the juggernaut year after year after year after. Like this is going to be a formula that we're going to milk until you don't want us to milk it anymore. And we're going to keep milking it, and that's yeah. They're still rolling off of that success all these years later because of this game.
I'm so curious though, we're this far into our draft and you haven't selected Halo 3 yet. I so I'm assuming that's not going to be one of your selections.
So I'll rip the band-aid off here. As I said, that was the preface. Is these are personal picks first and foremost. I don't like Halo 3.
Okay.
Um, I appreciate what it did. It was obviously extremely, extremely, extremely iconic in what it did. I didn't actually enjoy the multiplayer at all when I played it, and I have no fond memories of the campaign. It just wasn't a game that appealed to me.
Got you.
Of the
Okay.
three original first Halo games, Halo 2 is the one that I enjoy the most. Absolutely adore it. But yeah, not to discount
Okay.
it. It definitely deserves to be on other people's lists. It's just not on mine.
So we're in a weird spot because that's not going to be on my list either. Um,
Now, there's enough Xbox exclusive love on this list. It's fine.
there's a lot, man. Mass Effect, Lost Odyssey, wasn't BioShock timed exclusive?
I don't know if Bioshock was. It probably
Okay.
was, in all honesty. That was like the opening two
Everything
years of the
was, man.
360. Um, they kind of locked that down because it was just the safe place for developers. There was no risk. It would sell well on the 360, whereas it wasn't a guaranteed hit on the PlayStation 3 at that time.
Yeah, that's insane, man. This list is full of 360 exclusives. But okay, so my next selection is going to, I guess while we're here, how about we talk about God of War 2?
There we go.
Um, oh, no, 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 no. Actually, let me
Oh
backtrack. Let me backtrack. This is my
boy,
final pick, isn't it?
boy.
This would be my final pick, right?
Yep, this is your fifth and final.
Oh my God, dude.
You're gonna anger Kratos. I've heard he's got quite the temper. Do you want to do that?
I can't go God of War 2 over All Pro Football 2K8. I got to go All Pro Football 2K8. I know that's going to look crazy on this list, but hey, if it's our personal
Yep.
passions, then All Pro Football 2K8 all day over God of War. I mean, this is unfortunately, you know, the last 2K football game of any consequence, and it really wasn't even all that consequential, unfortunately. It was the first and last all pro football game that they released, and it was pretty much NFL 2K5, in my opinion, greatest sports game of all time, without a doubt, greatest football video game of all time. And it's the bones of that game, but instead of, because they lost the rights because EA bought the exclusive rights to use the NFL branding and the NFL players, so they went and contracted a bunch of legends. So they got like Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Shannon Sharp, Barry Sanders, yada yada. And they contracted them to be in the game, and you just built up a team full of the legends. It was bare bones. It had a lot of missing features, but the gameplay was so damn good. And in a lot of ways, it kind of perfected the that simulation feel for football video games. I think was perfected in All Pro Football 2K8. No doubt. Once again, very, very aware that it's not the it doesn't have the richness or the feature set of NFL 2K5, but damn, that thing plays so well. So gotta have that as my, because if I'm gonna like, I still go back and play All Pro Football 2K8 every now and then. I never go back and play God of War 2.
Oh, poor Kratos. It's a bit, but
I'm not a God of War guy.
okay. Well, while we've opened that kind of worms, I never understood I like them. I never really understood how they like were so big, if that makes sense. Because it's like I played Dante's Inferno, Darksiders one, and it's like they kind of God of War has like a little bit bigger of like spectacle, but I don't
Hmm.
think that's enough to say that it's in like a tier of its own in comparison to them other games. Like they play fairly same, in my
It
opinion.
was just like the evolution, right? Where Devil May Cry comes along and then
Mm.
God of War follows that up, but becomes like a big action movie blockbuster version of Devil May Cry. And then Dante's Inferno and Darksiders and all that comes along, and it's like a version of God of War with refinement, improvements, and iteration, but maybe not quite the same budget. But yeah, it's all the evolution, right? God of War is super, super important. I'm not going to take that away from it,
Oh
but
no, no, of course.
I I like Devil May Cry more. I like Bayonetta
Yeah.
more. It's just not my. I like Ninja Gaiden more. It's not my favorite of the character action genre at all.
Alrighty. Oh, fifth and final. Fifth and final. Man, this hurts. So, oh, fuck, man.
So tough.
Yeah, because there's like three games that are gonna get like super super snubbed on this list for me. I'm gonna have to go Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
Um, and I'll quickly rattle off the ones that I had on the list that could have made it. Stranglehold, John Woo's Stranglehold, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, Persona 3 Fez, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2, Juice 2 Hot Import Nights does not get enough love as a racing game, and then
Yeah,
Colin
no, it
McRae Dirt.
doesn't.
Um, but yeah, like you're talking Guitar Hero 3, man, like the things this that and Rock Band, them two when they were fucking going toe to toe with each other for what would it have been like a 5 year stint, it felt like, of like serious, like a load of purely casual gamers got into gaming
Hmm.
because of this. Like it's that type of thing
Yeah,
of like people, it's of course great when games sell millions and stuff like that, but we're not seeing like perpetual continuous growth of like the PS5 sold 200 million or PS4 sold 200 million, sorry, and then the PS5 is set to sell 250 million. Like these type of events don't seem to be happening nearly as often. Does that make sense? Of where you would
for sure.
grab hold of people who otherwise would completely ignore gaming, rip them in, and then you make them a gamer because they had no interest in God of War or in any racing games and stuff like that. Big, but they like music. They want to play something with their friends. They want to enjoy something collectively. And this became like people's go to in like college dorm rooms and stuff like that. Of stuff like that, even family events and stuff like that. I remember Christmases playing this with family members of people who would never touch gaming devices and stuff like that. Um, it was this, and funnily enough, I don't know if this like made as big of a splash in over the US, but like the Just Dance games as well, because we were
Oh,
playing it on the
absolutely.
Wii. And it's like them two games. Like I'm fairly confident in saying this, they will never make a return. I don't think. I think that's kind of just something that came and went,
I think Just Dance is still really popular, but definitely
not
Guitar
to
Hero
like
doesn't.
the degree it once was. They're still releasing them. Guitar Hero is definitely dead in the because it requires
Yeah.
peripherals. This is the big thing of, as to why that slammed shut. Is that yeah, you want you know convince people to pay $300 for a drum set and a fucking guitar and a game?
Well, and it
Probably not.
also requires understanding the concept of what a band even is. Like, that's just not even how music is made anymore. People don't think about bands as music, even though, you know, sure, when you go seeing your favorite star on tour, they definitely have a band behind them, more likely than not.
It's
But
more the
none of those,
centerpiece. It's the singer.
yeah,
The singer, like it was still a thing back in the day. You had like the things with like Queen and stuff where Freddie Mercury got a little bit big headed. He was like, yeah, I can
for
go off and
sure.
do my own stuff, and then it's like, oh shit, no, we kind of fill in each other's weaknesses and we kind of need each other to
Mhm.
remain successful. But now it's like, yeah,
But
they
when's the last band
no, that's
that
what I'm
had
saying.
popped off?
That
You know,
that
it's like
that was a thing
crazy.
back then, and now you've kind of people were so interchangeable now.
Mhm.
I still hear people turn around with the opinions that when a band loses a member, it used to really impact that a lot more than it does now. People just step in. The amount of bands
Mhm.
that just have this swap that. The hardest thing to replace is the vocalist because a voice is very very unique.
Yeah.
Um, but you can replace like a bassist, a drummer. They have their own unique style, of course, but that it's nowhere near as easily recognizable and noticeable as what was his name? Lincoln Park
Oh yeah,
lead
Chester
guy. Yeah,
Bennington.
just like they
Mhm.
replaced the vocalist, I believe, with a young female woman. Some people prefer it, but it's like that. It's very difficult to fill in them boots, kind of thing, as well.
Of
When you're the
course. Yeah. I
center, because
mean,
you're the center face as well, whether or not you
yeah.
want it. And yeah,
So I'll go ahead and say this up front. I'll put All Pro Football 2K8 at number 10. I'll happily take that as the number 10 slot on this list.
wow.
And then we can kind of debate from there. So if you want to go ahead and build this out with our, I guess going from 10 to 1, we can do it that way.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, All Pro Football 2K8, I'm totally happy with it, number 10. I think below that it gets tough though. Because I don't even know if Guitar Hero 3 I don't think should be number
Oh, why did it
9.
do that? Apologies, everyone.
You can pause and sort it out and then we can hop back in.
That's for some reason it connected my top five pick to the actual list.
Hmm.
Never was a good note guy. I prefer hand notes. Right, number
But
10. There we go. Yeah, I won't argue that. Not to discredit it any means, but the rest of these games had like much more universal impact for not in the U and I, but I think the wider space of gaming. Obviously, this had a massive effect on sports games because something that I was going to pick out and forgot to. You said about icons and legends, kind of thing, right? Was this the
hmm
first game to implement that kind of system?
no.
Okay,
I mean, it was the first game built around nothing but Legends for sure, but it wasn't
okay,
like there had been Legends in other sports games.
okay. Because you said this was an EA title, right?
No, this is 2K.
Oh, 2K. Duh.
Yeah, this is their last football game.
Yeah, because EA did this a similar thing with FIFA in 2014, 15 maybe, where that was like their next iteration in the online thing of grabbing icons and stuff like that and getting eyes on it. So
Tell me, do you think I'm crazy? I'm looking at the list that we have here remaining, and because if we're combining like subjectivity, objectivity, because it's impossible for either subjectivity or objectivity to really win out here because we're combining our list to build a definitive top 10 that defines both of us and kind of defines, I guess, the year 2007 in general, as we see it. You might definitely you can talk me off this, but I'm looking at Crackdown as maybe number 9 or potentially Crisis as number
oh
9.
no, definitely not Crisis.
Okay.
Because what I'm looking at number 9 is, funnily enough, I'm okay with Crackdown um, being there or Skate. is what I'm thinking. Um,
Yeah,
because
I mean,
Crackdown came out, very special first game. Second game, very lazy. Like I'll just be blunt, it was a very lazy sequel, and then they did nothing with that third game. So it's not like, and we didn't see any of its influence really be passed down onto open world games. It's not like collectathons became. Obviously, you had Assassin's Creed where it kind of icon vomited, but this game didn't have icon vomit. There was no icon vomit. You didn't have the tracking of the orbs in the map. It was you were told to explore the map yourself. So, if
I
anything, it kind of died with it as it was born.
I think Skate is a stronger video game with like more interesting kind of groundbreaking ideas. I think you might be more passionate about Crackdown than I am for Skate though. And so like I'd be okay with Skate going at number 9.
I I'll concede because what I'm thinking of it as well is we have the benefit as well of what impact it had because it's obviously fueling that
Right.
opinion as well.
Hmm.
Crackdown didn't. It's come and gone. Like
Yeah.
skating games and stuff like that, they're still trying to make skate.
Well, and I mean, you're even seeing, like you said, Session and
Yep.
other simulated kind of versions of pretty much picking up the torch that EA left behind when they left Skate behind. So I definitely think Skate has had more impact. But yeah, I'm not overly passionate about Skate, but I mean, I'm cool with doing Crackdown at number 9, Skate at number 8, or flipping that, however.
We'll just do this. There we go. Um, I'll do Crackdown at 9
Okay. Skate at 8.
and then skate at 8. Want to skate at 8?
You want to go Skate at 8, mate? Um, so number 7, what are you looking at on this list that feels like a firm number 7 entry?
Nothing at the moment.
As I'm looking at it, to me, I could see. Hmm,
All right, I'm back up. Crackdown, get out of here. Ooh, alrighty. It mm, Crisis, maybe. No,
probably.
is what I'm looking at. Um, in a similar vein to Crackdown. I don't think we see first person shooters be made like this anymore. I don't think they can really be made. That's why I was saying with the new Crisis announcement, like what is it that they could do that bring back its relevancy and spark and stuff like that? Because what it achieved back then isn't particularly impressive now. Like yeah,
Yeah.
destructibility in the environments would be nice, but it's not like it's anything that you haven't seen before. Um, so I would probably say Crisis, unless you
Crisis at
have
7.
a counter.
No, Crisis at 7 feels about right. I think that at 6, I'm looking at what would you say, Guitar Hero, Call of Duty, or uh, Uncharted, maybe?
Hmm.
I mean, Call of Duty is hard to put at 6 just because, I mean, that game had crazy fucking impact when it
Yeah,
launched,
there's
but
no
it's,
way that's a six. Oh, this stings. Lost Odyssey. If I'm
I don't
being a
know though. You're,
hundred percent honest, like I'm ripping out the 90% of my body and being that is saying, "The hell are you doing?" But if I'm being brutally honest, like we've not seen any of its impact really that it made. moving
But
forward,
at the
and it
same time,
also didn't do anything as a release. This is the thing. Like we can look back on it fondly now and be like, if it released on a different platform, or go back and enjoy it as a hidden gem and stuff like that. Like its objective was to breach into the Japanese market for Xbox, and it failed miserably. And as it's so close to being almost interchangeable to Final Fantasy X in the way of quality, love, and everything, but it didn't matter.
but I think that it does matter in terms of this discussion because it is probably your second favorite game or maybe even first favorite game on this entire list, right?
Yeah,
So I think that's a tough thing to put there at number six whenever you're that passionate about it. Whenever, like, I think Uncharted 1 could definitely go at six, or I think Uncharted 1 or Crackdown or Guitar Hero 3, I think make sense at six.
I'm also trying to weigh up as well because it's like a cheat sheet thing. I didn't play this in 2007. I was gaming in 2007, but it didn't also again achieve its goal of appealing to me. That's why I'm mildly shooting itself in the foot of my own opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that
But
can't factor that in 2025 so much though, or a lot of these games wouldn't even be on the list. You know, if we had to have played them in 2007,
mm,
then it's a lot, quite a few of these titles I didn't play in 2007 either. I think we go. I'm cool with either Guitar Hero 3 or Uncharted 1 at number six. I think it should be one of those two games.
yeah, we'll go
I don't think you
Uncharted.
put Uncharted at six. I'm fine
No,
with that.
Guitar Hero. Sorry.
Guitar Hero,
Yeah.
okay. Either one I'm fine with. So that pretty much that fills out to go ahead and place Uncharted at number five. Um, I'm completely cool with that. And then now we get into slightly more contentious territory because, in my opinion, it's clearly Call of Duty here. I would have a tough time seeing this top three not being some combination of Mass Effect, Lost Odyssey, Bioshock. I mean, I'll totally concede to you if you want to put Modern Warfare or if you want to put, Call of Duty at number four or at number three and have Lost Odyssey at number four. I'm fine with that. Like it doesn't matter to me one way or the other, but I feel like for your personal list, it'd be I would imagine you'd want Lost Odyssey higher.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially with COD 4, like it's very important as to what it did, even just for me, even with me not even really preferring it over Modern Warfare 2. But I just prefer Modern Warfare 2. So it's nothing against it. I think, yeah, COD goes at 4.
Caught at four.
Yeah.
So and now how do you feel about top three? Do you feel okay with top three being Lost Odyssey at number three, or do you think there's some debate there for Lost Odyssey being number two?
Give give me your argument as to why it should be at 3. As to like
Why
why
Lost Odyssey
Bioshock
should be
should
it?
be like above it. I think Bioshock is the one that's wiggleable.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be so short, but like I think the arguments kind of make themselves for why BioShock should be ahead of Lost Odyssey. I mean, once again, not trying to be reductive at all here. BioShock was a game changer, and Lost Odyssey was a very great game that made zero waves, like you said earlier, zero impact. But at the end of the day, I think the argument could kind of be made on your end that you're just a whole hell of a lot more passionate about Lost Odyssey than I am Bioshock, and I would be willing to hear that. But it's also you like Bioshock as well, so
That's
it's kind of
this is
tough
the thing.
there.
This is why I was hoping that you'd like slam dunk it rather than be like, hmm. Oh man.
Because I love Bioshock, but I'm not. I know people that they have like the BioShock tattoos and that's their. No, I mean genuinely, like people love BioShock, man. It's
I
like a
don't think either of
personality
us
trait.
are going to be pumping any ink for any games anytime soon.
No.
Oh man, right. This is going to be my counter argument, and it feels bad for the game because if this wasn't my counter argument, it probably could have clinched it. I went into that game knowing what the twist would be. It was pre-spoiled
Oh
for
boy,
me, so
yeah.
it's the kind of like it's one of them instances where like you really, 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 really wish you didn't have that knowledge, so that you could have been the one to experience it and be like jaw drop on the floor kind of thing. But when you've been told this is the greatest moment in gaming, and it's been told like to death at this point, um, it loses its sharpness for sure, big time. Um, so that does bring it down a peg for me. And
But if you're talking
also
best
of the three
games,
Bioshocks,
no, but I'm saying like if you're talking best games of 2007, if you're trying to put this list together definitively, if we were working at a site right now and we were in a boardroom and there was 10 of us debating this, which it's not 10 of us debating this, and I guess that's the direct argument to slap my own self in the face. To the counter argument is like, sure, but if it was some sort of site list we were trying to build, it'd be hard to put Lost Odyssey ahead of BioShock. However, it's not that. So I guess I should shut the fuck up with weird hypothetical scenarios that make no sense and are completely irrelevant to this conversation. I think I've argued against BioShock like 7 times in
mm,
the past 2 minutes, so I, I think I could have to concede that point, and we can drop BioShock at number three.
I think for me as well, the reason why I would see it at number three is of the trilogy. It's not my fondest as
Oh
well.
yeah, Infinite's the best for sure.
So yeah, coming at it from that angle, I think I'd put it at three
Okay, yeah. I mean, I
because
once again, I'm not.
I think we've spoken about this before as well. I love Bioshock, but I also wish there was just slight changes. Like Prey 2016 to me is the perfect immersive sim of the modern era. Placed on a console, making sure that it plays well on a console. Because this is the thing of the argument as to why they like slimmed down and cut corners and made things a lot more simplified. Like I just wish it had a little bit more bite.
Right.
It's an absolute great game. I just wish it had a little bit more teeth, and I wish it wasn't spoiled for me.
So I'm assuming at this point, though, we're fairly in sync with number one and two, two being Lost Odyssey, one being Mass Effect. If you're trying to debate me Lost Odyssey over Mass Effect, you're gonna have a fucking long day at the office.
No, of course not. Um, shit. Um, no. I love Lost Odyssey. It's always gonna have like a really fucking warm spot in my heart. But like, yeah, man, I can't. I wish I was like a super word buff because I cannot convey how impactful Mass Effect 1 was for me from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Of me discovering how much of a fucking lore nerd I am was that game opening up and like me being like, oh, I want to learn about everything in this game. Like how people like made their whole fucking life about Star Wars fandoms and stuff like that
Right.
is how I felt when I booted up Mass Effect. They were throwing these words at me, and instead of them going fully over my head, having no care whatsoever about learning about it and being like, yeah, I don't know what a Promethean is. I don't know what how's a mass relay and stuff like this. I was like, okay, let's go. I'm sitting here talking to like the Hannah and stuff like that, and it's just like it's. I want to know what this is. What is this? Why does it talk like that? Why does it look like that? It's so incredibly unique, and as good as Lost Odyssey is, the only thing that for me that it edges over Mass Effect 1 is emotional impact of its actual story. You have for me in Mass Effect 1, you have like three big moments that hit you in the feels. But the way that Lost Odyssey is written and the plot is laid out forth, like the entire game is just tragedy. And that always hits me a lot more. Like this is why I love Persona 3 and stuff like that. Like when you have really dark themes that are like, wow, that's heavy, that will
Yeah.
always resonate with me more. But as like when you put it stacked against like it's Mass Effect 1 for me is more fun to play. The lore of the world is more fun to learn about and explore. The companions, there's some good companions in Lost Odyssey. I'll give it credit, but they don't stack up to Garrus and Ashley and Caden. I think we spoke about before, like be a game. You know, a game, an RPG is special when you're able to sit there and rattle off every single companion without fail
Mm,
from a
right.
trilogy of games.
Yeah. I can't do it for Mass Effect 3, but I can definitely do it for Mass Effect 1 and 2. Yeah.
And it's
I
just
mean,
like that just shows the level of impact that an RPG is meant to hit you in the feels, make you think, and make you care. And that is exactly what Mass Effect 1 did to me. And I'm sure it did to you.
oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, this was a seminal game for me, for sure. For just, it got me into role playing games, and then I just think that moments define media. And this is a game just full of moments I'll never forget. I don't know if you feel the same way, but to me, it's always about the moments. I'm going to forget so much about your story. I'm going to forget so much about your lore. I'm going to forget so much about, the small things. I'm going to remember the big moments, the standout moments. And you can rattle them off about Mass Effect 1. I mean, there's at least 10 off the top of my head right now I could go through that are just standout iconic moments. And you're talking about 10 iconic moments in a main story that is only about 15 hours long. You're getting a new iconic moment almost every hour. Yeah, that game hits like fucking crack, man. So is our list Mass Effect 1 at number 1, Lost Odyssey at number 2, BioShock at number 3, Modern Warfare 4 at number 4, Uncharted 1 at number 5, Guitar Hero 3 at number 6, Crisis at number 7, Skate at number 8, Crackdown at number 9, and All Pro Football 2K8 at number 10.
That is, as it says on the page, the actual list.
Is there
So,
anything in here that you would want to rearrange or like just looking at it
um,
over one time?
2007. No, like we said, we snubbed a lot. There's not much that can be done about that. Unfortunately. Um, but I think that not only looks, that also feels right. If that makes
Yeah,
sense. Like you obviously have very fond memories of pro football and skate and stuff like that, but did it leave the impact on it that Mass Effect did? I
no,
don't
of
think
course
so.
not.
And this is the thing of like that's what makes a game of the year for an individual rather than a trying to think a media outlet and stuff like that where you're having to cram in all the opinions and then kind of like squeeze them all together and get like a medium aggregate almost. Um, it's the benefit of doing like a two-person thing is that you can see because they're both games that for Mass Effect for both of us that mean the world. I
Absolutely.
would care a hell of a lot less about gaming, I think, had this not been made. I it's like the what if scenario because, like I said, it was the moment I discovered that I cared about lore and story. It was the thing that made me perk up and listen instead of when you're a kid, sometimes kids just smash through text boxes. You don't give a shit. Once you just want to play the game. You
Hmm.
are there for gameplay. That is meant to distract you. Um, and that is the everybody needs that game where it whips your wrist and is like, pay attention. And
Yeah.
that's what it was for me.
You know, I think about that sometimes about the new generation coming in and just how, and I'm even starting to experience it definitely more, just how easy it is to get addicted to the dopamine rush of the constant scroll and, you know, the ADD generation. We're certainly a part of it, but it's going to be much worse for the younger generations coming up. And it's like, how are they going to get acclimated, or are they ever going to get acclimated to like the style of games that we like? Or is it going to be stuff like Ball Pit and Balatro? And is that going to be their gateway into getting off of, but I mean, those games are available on iPads and iPhones as well. And so, yeah, I don't know. I honestly think that the future should be Resident Evil 11 on an iPhone, that
Oh, it's
Apple
going to be.
leans.
There's of Capcom of all people. They've been putting everything
But I'm
on.
saying everything should be on iPhone.
Mm,
Like, that I'm surprised that Apple hasn't created like the, iPhone 18G, where it's like a gaming center centric device, and then they have their own storefront that's available. And so hopefully in theory, you would think that it could just be as easy as clicking on a storefront, and in the zeitgeist, there's something like Dispatch there that could be that little bit of a bridge. And then from Dispatch, you go into whatever comes next, The Last of Us 3, and then from there you go into,
mm.
Cyberpunk, and then from there you go into Baldur's Gate, and like that you got to have those, you know, gateway drugs.
Yeah, they definitely work in a different environment because they're priced much, much cheaper and still don't really sell well. Um, the of weirdly enough, we talk about like subscription services struggling, right? That Apple Arcade does really damn well for them. We're barely putting in any effort whatsoever. It's so cheap as well. If memory serves, like it's not expensive at all for a monthly fee. Gives you shitloads of paid games that you can play. I think they're just happy that it's so safe and just easy bankable money. Um, they've had like headbutt clashes with Epic, Microsoft as well, with storefront understanding and what cut is what and stuff like that. So yeah, it's difficult. They need to find a way to make a bit more of a compromise. I think otherwise it will just be kind of niche ish for a lot of people because yeah, there's a growing number of mobile gamers, but I still think a lot of that number is it's not games of the ilk of like Resident Evil 2. It's COD
Oh,
Mobile, it's Candy Crush, it's what at Temple Run. I don't have any. I don't
yeah.
have any like them types of things where it's like there's no investment there really whatsoever because they're
But I
designed
wonder if
as a
it's,
phone to. That's the thing when you're designing things around a phone. It needs to be immediately be able to pick up, put down, pick up, put down. Like you can't have like Elden Ring playing on it really because it's gonna. You can't just put Elden Ring down. It's something that demands attention. It's just a weird thing that it's a missing piece that they need to try and solve.
yeah, I wonder if a big answer though was to like have a storefront where if everything was available there, then I wonder if it would just become more synonymous where it's like, yeah, I play my games on my iPhone. Just I already have it. No need to invest in anything else other than to buy the game. And you got a billion people who own these things, then it's just it's
Hmm.
a thought I have a lot that I don't have the answer to, obviously, or I'd be a fucking
I don't think
billionaire.
anyone.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think anyone does. It's the thing as well because you have people who would shut that idea down because obviously the Windows Phone kind of crashed and burned. But it's like it was for one niche, very very niche. Uh, like it's Apple as well. Like if
exactly.
anybody's going to make the crack, because I know Samsung doesn't give a shit. I think they care at all to do that. They sell TVs, phones, and stuff like. Apple is just an entertainment juggernaut because I don't think Samsung does. I'm not an Android person, so maybe I'm talking out my ass. They don't have like a Apple TV thing, right? I don't think
Yeah. They
Samsung
do.
do.
Like, yeah, Samsung?
Yeah,
Yeah, like their own TVs.
no, like Apple TV is an app
Oh,
where
like a
you
thing.
buy
Oh,
stuff,
okay,
and
okay.
like that's what I like. They're not an entertainment juggernaut in that. Like they sell the hardware, they don't
Right, they
make.
just sell the hardware,
Yeah,
yeah.
whereas Apple do literally everything. Like, so yeah, if anybody could do it, it would be them. Whether or not they want to do it is another matter. Like they have the numbers. Maybe they're looking at it and like, man, Resident Evil 2 sold 10,000 copies. Just pulling that out my ass. I don't know, but like,
Yeah.
wow, that sold barely anything. That's probably not.
And I assume that's more along the lines of what's going on, but I think you gotta do some
Keep your
building on your
eyes,
end too.
yeah, keep your eyes
You
open.
gotta Yeah, you gotta have your own infrastructure ready to go and like you
Mm,
can't just be like, well, here's two games. It's like that's so exciting, man. Two old games. But yeah. Anywho, this is fun, dude. I appreciate you, brother.
absolutely. So the description down below will have Brandon's channel linked as always. Thank you very much for watching. And if you want to join the Discord with like-minded gamers such as yourself, drop a comment down below, and I'll hit you back with the link. But thank you very much for joining me, Brandon.
Absolutely, dude. Pumped to be here. Pumped to rank some more video game years in the future, potentially.
Let us obviously both know what your final 10 would be for 2007, and tell us how wrong we were with putting
Absolutely.
Lost Odyssey so damn low. Boo. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you next one.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Goodbye.